One machine inside TSMC's Arizona chip factory costs about $380 million and weighs as much as two Airbus A320s. Now put that kind of equipment inside a $265 billion Arizona expansion. A US fab can cost 4 to 5 times as much to build as one in Taiwan. Yet Arizona reportedly made more profit in the first quarter of 2026 than in all of 2025, while AI customers still fight for capacity. Can this actually pay off? By the end, the answer comes down to 3 conditions. 2 of them have little to do with whether Arizona can make a good chip. TSMC's Arizona commitment began at $12 billion in 2020. Now it is $265 billion. The plan covers 10 wafer fabs, 2 advanced packaging facilities, and an R&D center. But most of that system does not exist yet. The first fab is producing chips. The second is expected to reach volume production in 2027. The third is under construction. Later fabs may not arrive until the end of the decade or beyond. So this is not just a bet on today's AI boom, it is a bet on customers years from now. That is the first clock. And chip technology moves much faster than construction. A semiconductor fab looks like an enormous building. The expensive part is what goes inside it. Industry estimates put a leading-edge fab around $20 billion. Roughly 70 to 80% of the cost can be manufacturing equipment. That $380 million machine from the opening is only one tool. At the leading edge, the field is essentially down to TSMC, Samsung, and Intel. The support system is enormous too. One published estimate puts a single TSMC fab's water demand at up to 8.9 million gallons per day, roughly 3% of Phoenix's current water production. The real asset is a system for turning blank wafers into saleable chips. 3 things matter most: wafer value, utilization, and yield, the share of chips that work. Arizona surprised almost everyone on that last one. Industry estimates put advanced wafers in the tens of thousands of dollars each. A 2-nanometer wafer may be around $30,000. TSMC does not publish a simple public price list, so treat that as an industry estimate. Now imagine one wafer contains space for 100 identical chips. This next example is illustrative. At 90% yield, 90 work. At 70%, only 70 work. The fab paid to process the same wafer, but it has 20 fewer chips to sell. That is roughly 22% fewer saleable chips than the 90% case. Same wafer, different usable output, different economics. Critics expected Arizona to struggle with a new workforce and supplier ecosystem. Instead, its first Arizona fab reached yields comparable with Taiwan. Some industry reporting put the figure around 92%, and AMD's Lisa Su also described the yields as comparable. Then the financial result changed fast. Arizona lost money in 2024. Taiwan government disclosures put 2025 profit around $514 million. In the first quarter of 2026 alone, the Arizona operation earned more than it had in all of 2025. One quarter beat 12 months. That does not prove $265 billion will pay off, but it proves the first fab can work. Now comes the stranger part. Arizona can be much more expensive to build without being much more expensive to run. This is where 2 different numbers get confused. TSMC's CFO has said US fab construction can cost 4 to 5 times as much as Taiwan. Labor, permitting, safety requirements, inflation, and the workforce learning curve all add cost. That sounds brutal, but much of the capital is process equipment that costs a fortune wherever you install it. Tech Insights modeled Arizona wafer processing costs at less than 10% above Taiwan. AMD has described its Arizona chip premium as more than 5%, but less than 20%. Those estimates measure different things. But the contradiction matters. The factory may be brutally expensive to build while each wafer is only moderately more expensive to produce. And if customers accept that premium, Arizona does not need to beat Taiwan on cost. It only needs customers who value the capacity enough to pay more. AI may be giving TSMC exactly that. In the second quarter of 2026, TSMC's high-performance computing business reached 66% of revenue. That category includes much of today's AI and data center demand. Advanced nodes made up 77% of wafer revenue, and AI accelerators still need advanced packaging. TSMC's CoWoS packaging capacity has been expanding rapidly and was still described as extremely tight and sold out through 2026. This is what customers fighting for capacity looks like. Nvidia alone reportedly reserved around 60% of TSMC's 2026 CoWoS capacity. AMD has said the Arizona premium is worth paying for supply chain resilience. Apple has said it is buying as much Arizona output as it can. So Arizona does not have to become cheaper than Taiwan. It has to become valuable enough that customers do not want to wait for somewhere cheaper. That is the bull case. High yield, full fabs, and customers willing to pay a premium because AI demand is strong enough to absorb the cost disadvantage. But this only works if the customers are still there when the factories arrive. TSMC has already shown that Arizona can make advanced chips. The question is whether it can earn back the premium on hundreds of billions of dollars of capacity, and that depends on a timing problem no yield improvement can solve. TSMC says a fab can take 2 to 3 years to build, then another 1 to 2 years to ramp toward meaningful output. Capacity approved during an extraordinary AI market in 2026 may not become fully useful until 2029 or later. The demand signal arrives first. The factory arrives years afterward. That is dangerous in a cyclical industry. Shortages make capacity look priceless. Companies spend. New supply arrives after demand changes. After the post-pandemic shortage, the semiconductor industry corrected sharply. Now, global semiconductor capital spending is projected around $200 billion in 2026. TSMC, Samsung, and Micron are all expanding at once. And in July 2026, news that Meta was exploring reselling spare AI compute helped trigger a 2-day chip stock sell-off on fears that AI infrastructure was being overbuilt. The danger is not that AI disappears, it is that everyone solves today's shortage at roughly the same time. Then utilization falls while depreciation, clean rooms, and payroll keep running. Fewer wafers carry the same fixed costs. Full fabs are only half the problem. The other half is what happens the moment one goes quiet. Semiconductor fabs hate downtime. Idle tools are still expensive tools. A wafer can spend weeks moving through hundreds of process steps before it is finished. Lose it late, and much of that work becomes scrap. Reporting on a 2025 outage at an Arizona industrial gas supplier said production stopped for hours and thousands of wafers were scrapped. In the same quarter, Arizona profit reportedly fell 99% to about $1.4 million. TSMC did not confirm the wafer count or attribute that entire profit drop to the outage, so treat the connection as reported. But the economic mechanism is simple. Poor yield wastes capacity, low utilization wastes capital. You need both. Arizona has passed the yield test surprisingly well. The harder test is whether all those future fabs can stay full, and they are racing another clock at the same time. TSMC's accounting gives manufacturing equipment a useful life of roughly 5 years. Buildings can be depreciated over 10 to 20. So the shell can still feel new after the tools inside have run through their accounting life. Meanwhile, 5 nanometer becomes 3, 3 becomes 2, then A16 arrives. And A16 itself was pushed into 2027 after previously being expected in 2026. The roadmap can move while the concrete is still curing. Older fabs can move to mature products, but the highest value work keeps moving to newer tools. Every Arizona fab is racing 2 clocks: construction and technology. Finish too slowly, and the node you designed around may already be losing its premium. And every time that technology clock forces another investment, somebody has to absorb the cost. Washington is helping, just much less than the $265 billion headline makes it sound. So how much is Washington actually paying? TSMC's finalized CHIPS Act package included up to $6.6 billion in direct grants, plus loans and tax incentives. $6.6 billion is enormous. Against a $265 billion commitment, the direct grant is only about 2.5%. Washington did not buy these factories for TSMC. The subsidy reduces the pain. It does not create demand. Arizona also has another value: insurance. Taiwan produces roughly 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. Arizona reduces that concentration. But the final question is still financial. Can the rest of the campus make money when it opens? Reduce the entire bet to 3 conditions. Condition 1, utilization stays high. AI accelerators, cloud chips, and other advanced products keep the fabs full. Condition 2, yield stays close to Taiwan. Arizona cannot spend its premium producing chips that never become saleable. Condition 3, customers keep paying for U.S. capacity. That may mean paying 5, 10, or even 20% more, not because Arizona is cheaper, but because scarcity and resilience make it worth more. If those conditions hold, TSMC does not need Arizona to become Taiwan. The first fab is already evidence for the strong case: high yield, real customers, and profit arriving faster than many critics expected. But flip the conditions. AI spending slows, new capacity arrives, and utilization falls. The same fixed costs spread across fewer wafers while technology keeps advancing. That is why $265 billion is not the answer. It is the size of the question. TSMC is betting that AI demand, strategic diversification, and customer willingness to pay a premium will outrun Arizona's higher cost. Right now, the first factory is supporting that thesis. The real test begins when the later factories turn on, because TSMC does not need today's AI shortage to last forever. It needs enough demand to still be there when tomorrow's fabs finally arrive.